I never planned to confront my family at Christmas. But when my brother finally said what they'd all been thinking for years, I stopped protecting the lie. The thing about being the scapegoat is that you learn to memorize tones, not words. Words are slippery. Words can be denied, misunderstood, rephrased later into something softer. But tone? Tone is the fingerprint. My brother Ryan had a specific one he used when he wanted an audience. Loud, amused, cutting. The tone of someone who knows the room will laugh with him, not at him. And my mom, Linda, had her own. That calm, practiced voice that sounded reasonable even when she was doing something cruel. The voice that turned you into the problem for reacting. I knew both tones so well that, by the time Christmas rolled around, I could hear the fight coming before anyone said anything. I still went. Not because I believed in miracles. Not because I thought my family would suddenly turn into the kind of people you post happy photos of. I went because I was tired of being rewritten. And because I had something in my pocket that made gaslighting a lot harder. It started weeks earlier, in the family group chat. The chat was called the fam because my mother loves irony the way other people love candles. It's where she posted photos of her tree, her cookies, her blessed life. It's also where she issued commands in a tone that never sounded like commands. Mom, Christmas dinner is at 6. Don't be late. Mom, everyone bring something. Mom, let's make it nice this year. I learned a long time ago that nice meant quiet. It meant no conflict, no boundaries, no truth. It meant everyone playing their assigned role. Ryan was the golden child. Always. It wasn't subtle. When we were kids, he got praised for breathing. I got criticized for taking up space. If he forgot homework, he was distracted and creative. If I forgot, it was proof I was careless and ungrateful. If he yelled, it was passion. If I cried, it was manipulation. By adulthood, it had fossilized into a family religion. Ryan was the success story. The proof my mom liked to point at whenever she wanted credit for being a great parent. I was the warning label. So when my phone buzzed one night in early December, I already knew it wouldn't be a normal message. It was Ryan. Ryan, so what are you bringing? Don't show up empty-handed like last year. I stared at my screen, my jaw tight. Last year I'd brought a homemade dessert and a gift for Mom and Dad. Ryan had shown up with nothing but a story about how busy he was, and everyone had nodded like he'd donated a kidney. I didn't answer right away, because any answer would become a thread they could pull. A minute later, Mom chimed in. Mom, Ryan is right. Everyone contributes. We all have responsibilities. Then, Mom, and Casey, it would mean a lot if you could help a little extra this year. Things are expensive. The words were familiar. The shape of the request. Soft language, hard expectation. I could almost hear her voice, sweet, reasonable, like she was asking me to pass the salt. I typed. I'm bringing a dish. I already contributed to Dad's meds last month. I can't do extra. The chat went quiet for 2 minutes. Then the typing bubbles appeared in that predictable sequence. Mom first. Mom, I'm disappointed. Mom, after everything we've done for you. Mom, you always make it about money. Then Ryan. Ryan, LOL. Here we go. Ryan, you're always the victim. Ryan, Mom, don't stress. I'll handle it like always. I could picture him smirking as he typed. I could picture my mom absorbing it like worship. I felt my chest tighten, that old, automatic guilt response that had nothing to do with logic and everything to do with survival. My partner Maya found me staring at my phone like it had insulted me in person. She sat beside me on the couch and leaned her head against my shoulder. Christmas? She asked. Family, I muttered. She took my phone gently and scrolled through the messages, her face changing as she read. When she handed it back, her voice was flat. They don't talk to you like they like you. I swallowed. They're just like that. Yeah, she said. That's the problem. Maya wasn't raised in my house. She didn't speak the language of excuses. She didn't try to interpret cruelty as love because she had to. She just saw it. And that was both comforting and terrifying, because it meant the thing I'd been calling normal wasn't. That night, after the chat died down, I did something I'd never done before. I saved it. Not the screenshots. I'd been saving those for years, like little proof tokens I never used because what would be the point? Every time I brought proof, my mom would say I was keeping score. But this time, Ryan had done something different. He'd sent a voice note to the group chat. A long one. At first, I didn't even play it. The little waveform sat there like a landmine. I could already guess what it contained: jokes, digs, the same light-hearted cruelty he always wrapped in humor. But something in me wanted to know exactly how bold he was getting. So I tapped play. His voice filled my kitchen, loud and confident like he was giving a toast. Honestly, Ryan said, laughing, Casey acts like she's the only one who has problems. Meanwhile, I'm the one holding this family together. I flinched. My eyes flicked to the hallway like someone might be listening. He kept going. She's gonna show up with some sad little casserole and a bad attitude and then act shocked when mom calls her out. My stomach churned. Then my mom's voice came in, faint but clear. She was in the background. I'm done coddling her, she said. Ryan laughed again. As you should be. I mean, let's be real, Mom. I'm the one you can actually be proud of. And my mom, without missing a beat, said, of course you are. The air in my apartment felt like it disappeared. Ryan's voice continued, warm with satisfaction. I'm the golden child. Casey is, what? The practice run? The cautionary tale? Then he laughed like that was charming, and my mom laughed too, the sound light and approving. My hands went cold. It wasn't just Ryan being Ryan. It was my mother agreeing. Out loud. Where other people could hear it. Something about that made it different. Not worse, exactly, just undeniable. I sat there in silence after the voice note ended, staring at the little waveform like it had teeth. Maya watched my face. What was that? She asked quietly. I showed her. She listened without blinking. When it ended, she looked at me for a long time and said something I still hear in my head like a warning bell. They're going to pretend they never said that. My mouth went dry. They can't. It's in the chat. They will, she said. They'll say it was a joke. They'll say you misunderstood. They'll say you're overreacting. They'll say you're trying to ruin Christmas. I stared at the screen. She was right. They had done it to me my whole life. So I did something else I'd never done. I made sure it couldn't disappear. I saved the voice note to my phone. Backed it up. Filed it away in a folder that felt ridiculous and necessary at the same time. Not because I was plotting revenge. Because I was tired of being told my reality wasn't real. The week before Christmas, my mom ramped up. Every day, a new message. Mom, are you coming for sure? Mom, it would break my heart if you weren't here. Mom, please don't bring drama this year. Drama. That word. Her favorite weapon. What she meant was, don't react to anything we do. Let us treat you however we want, and smile while it happens. Ryan joined in, of course. Ryan, don't worry, I'll keep Casey under control. Under control. Like I was a dog. I stared at that message until my vision blurred, then I set my phone down and went into the bathroom and stared at myself in the mirror. I looked normal. Tired, yes. Tense, yes. But normal. And I realized something that made my throat tighten. I had been living my entire life as if I needed their permission to exist peacefully. I told Maya I didn't want to go. She didn't argue. She just asked, do you want to go because you want them? Or because you're afraid of what they'll say if you don't? I hated that question. Because I knew the answer. I'm afraid, I admitted. Maya nodded, like fear wasn't shameful, just information. Then we make a plan, she said. So we did. No drinking. Separate car. I would have my keys on me at all times. If my mom or Ryan started in, I'd say one sentence, I'm not doing this. If it continued, I'd leave. No negotiating, no explaining, no pleading. And if I needed to, I'd call her and she'd come get me. It was the first time I'd ever had an exit strategy for my own family. That should have told me everything. Christmas Day arrived in a blur of cold air and forced cheer. My parents' house was lit up like a postcard. The tree glowed in the front window. Wreath on the door. Smell of ham and cinnamon and something sweet that made you think of childhood in a way that felt almost cruel. When I walked in, my mom's face brightened into her public smile. There she is, she said, opening her arms. My girl. I stiffened instinctively, then stepped into the hug because it's amazing how your body will comply even when your mind is screaming. She squeezed too tight, then pulled back and immediately scanned me, head to toe. You look thin, she said. Not a compliment. A critique. I'm fine, I replied. She hummed, already turning away. Coats go in the closet. You can help me in the kitchen. Of course. I hadn't even taken my shoes off and I was already assigned a role. In the living room, relatives laughed. Someone poured wine. Christmas music played at a volume that felt like it was trying too hard. And there was Ryan, sprawled on the couch like he owned the house, drink in hand, smiling like a king receiving tribute. When he saw me, his grin widened. Well, look who showed up, he said loudly, making sure the room heard. Our little tradition continues. I forced a neutral expression. Hi, Ryan. He tilted his head. So, what did you bring? Please tell me it's not that weird quinoa thing again. A few people chuckled. My mother didn't correct him. She just smiled faintly like he was adorable. I carried my dish into the kitchen without responding, my jaw tight. Behind me, I heard Ryan's voice drift through the doorway, casual and cruel. Don't worry, he said to someone, amused. Casey always plays nice on Christmas. It's the other days she gets difficult. My fingers tightened around the casserole dish. In my pocket, my phone felt heavier than usual. And as I stood there in the warm kitchen, listening to my family laugh around me like I wasn't a person, I understood something with uncomfortable clarity. Ryan was going to push. He always did. Because he believed he could. Because he believed I would swallow it, like always. The only question was how far he'd go before I stopped protecting the story they'd built at my expense. Dinner didn't start right away. It never does in my family. There's a long preamble of drinks and standing around, of people circling each other like everything is fine as long as no one says anything real. I set my casserole on the counter. My mom lifted the foil, peered inside, then replaced it with a soft clink. Oh, she said. This again. It's what you asked for, I replied. She waved a hand. It's fine. We'll make it work. The words were light. The message wasn't. I took a breath and stepped away, reminding myself of the plan. One sentence. Then leave. In the living room, Ryan was already halfway through his second drink, holding court. I'm just saying, he was telling my uncle, some people don't understand responsibility. They think showing up is enough. My uncle nodded vaguely. Yeah, well. Different paths. Ryan smirked when he saw me hovering near the doorway. Hey, Casey, he said, loud enough for everyone to hear. We were just talking about you. Of course you were. About what? I asked. Accountability, he said, grinning. You know. Adult stuff. A few people laughed again, that uncomfortable kind where they're hoping the joke moves on quickly. My mom appeared at Ryan's side like she'd been summoned. "Let's not start," she said, smiling tightly at me. "It's Christmas." I nodded. "Agreed." Ryan raised his eyebrows theatrically. "See? She's already sensitive." "I'm not doing this," I said calmly. There it was. The sentence. Ryan snorted. "Relax. It's a joke." "It's not funny to me," I replied. My dad cleared his throat from his armchair. Okay. Drinks, everyone. Let's sit." We moved to the table in that stiff, choreographed way families do when they can feel something building and want to pretend they can outmaneuver it. I was placed between my cousin and my dad, across from Ryan. My mom sat at the head of the table like a queen presiding over a reluctant court. Plates were passed. Wine poured. Small talk resumed. For about 10 minutes, it almost worked. Then my mom turned to Ryan, beaming. "So," she said. "Tell everyone about your promotion." Ryan straightened, delighted. "Well," he said, pretending to be modest, "it's not a big deal, but they finally recognized what I bring to the table." He launched into a story about his job, about how indispensable he was, how his boss relied on him, how stressful it was to carry so much responsibility. Everyone murmured appropriately. My mom nodded along, pride radiating off her. "That's my son," she said. "Always taking care of things." Ryan took a sip of his drink and glanced at me. "Some people are just built different," he said. "Some step up. Some don't." I felt my jaw tighten. I said nothing. He kept going. "You know," he said casually, carving his ham, "I don't mind helping mom and dad out. That's what family does." My fork paused midair. "That's generous of you," my aunt said. Ryan shrugged. "Someone has to be the grown-up." The words landed like a shove. I looked at my mom. She didn't correct him. She didn't look at me at all. My chest burned. I set my fork down carefully. "That's not accurate." Ryan smiled like he'd been waiting for that. "Oh? Enlighten us." "I contribute," I said. "I always have." He laughed. Actually laughed. "Sure you do," he said. "In your own way." My dad shifted again. "Let's just eat." "No," Ryan said, waving him off. "I'm curious. Casey, what exactly do you think you contribute?" The table went quiet. I could feel everyone watching me, waiting to see if I'd shrink like usual. My phone pressed against my thigh in my pocket, heavy, solid. I took a breath. "I show up," I said. "I help when I can. I don't brag about it." Ryan leaned back in his chair. "Showing up isn't contribution. It's bare minimum." My mom nodded slightly. That tiny movement felt louder than any word. I felt something cold settle in my chest. "Ryan," I said, keeping my voice steady, "this isn't the place." He grinned wider. "Why not? We're all family here. No secrets, right?" My mom laughed nervously. "He's just teasing." "I'm not," Ryan said, eyes locked on mine. "I'm being honest." He turned to the table. "Let's just say what everyone knows," he continued. Mom and Dad leaned on me. I stepped up. "Casey didn't." "That's not true," my cousin said softly. Ryan ignored her. "I mean," he said, shrugging, "we all know how this works. Every family has a golden child." My stomach dropped. He glanced at my mom. She didn't stop him. "And," he continued, his smile sharpening, "someone has to be the screw-up." A couple of people shifted uncomfortably. Someone set down their glass. Ryan looked back at me, eyes bright. "I'm the golden child," he said, voice clear, pleased with himself. "And you're nothing." The words hit the table like a dropped plate. For a moment, no one spoke. I could hear the faint jingle of Christmas music from the other room. A laugh track from a sitcom playing somewhere on TV. The normal world intruding on something ugly. My mom inhaled sharply. Not to correct him. To assess the room. That's enough, my dad said weakly. Ryan held up his hands. What? I'm just saying what everyone's thinking. I looked at my mom. She met my eyes for half a second, then looked away. That was it. Not the insult. The confirmation. I felt the familiar urge rise up. The one that told me to laugh it off, to apologize for being upset, to make it okay so everyone else could stay comfortable. Instead, I felt something else. Exhaustion. Pure, bone-deep exhaustion from protecting a story that had never protected me. I stood up slowly. I'm not going to argue with you, I said. Ryan smirked. Good. Because you'd lose. I slipped my hand into my pocket and wrapped my fingers around my phone. But, I continued, my voice steady, since you're so confident about what everyone knows, I think we should all hear it. Ryan frowned. Hear what? I pulled my phone out and placed it on the table. My mom's eyes widened. Casey, she said sharply, don't. Ryan laughed, uneasy now. What is this? Another guilt trip? I looked around the table. At my dad. At my aunt. At my cousin who wouldn't meet my eyes. At Christmas, I said quietly, we're supposed to be honest. Right? No one answered. I tapped the screen. The room held its breath. Ryan laughed again, but this time it came out thin. You're not serious, he said. My thumb hovered over the screen. My mom pushed her chair back abruptly. Casey, she snapped, the calm mask cracking, this is not appropriate. I met her eyes. Neither was what he just said. Ryan scoffed. Oh my God. Are you about to play some edited nonsense to make me look bad? I don't need to edit anything, I replied. My dad stood halfway out of his chair, palms raised. Let's all just calm down. This is calm, I said. Then I pressed play. Ryan's voice filled the room, loud and unmistakable. Honestly, the recording said, followed by his laugh, Casey acts like she's the only one who has problems. Meanwhile, I'm the one holding this family together. Every head at the table snapped toward him. His smile vanished. The recording continued. She's gonna show up with some sad little casserole and a bad attitude. My mom lunged across the table. Turn that off. I pulled the phone back, standing now, my heart pounding but my hand steady. Let it play, I said. Her hand froze midair. On the recording, Ryan kept talking, relaxed, smug. I'm the golden child, his recorded voice said. Casey is, what? The practice run? The cautionary tale? A few people gasped. My cousin's mouth fell open. Then my mom's voice, faint but clear, slipped in from the background. I'm done coddling her. Dead silence. Ryan's face drained of color. The recording went on. As you should be, Ryan said. I mean, let's be real, Mom. I'm the one you can actually be proud of. And then my mom again, unmistakable. Of course you are. I hit pause. The room felt like it had lost all oxygen. For a few seconds, no one spoke. Not a cough. Not a clink of silverware. Even the Christmas music seemed too loud now, obscene in its cheer. Ryan stared at the phone like it had betrayed him. That's taken out of context, he said finally, too fast. My mom found her voice next. You recorded us? It was sent to the group chat, I said. You sent it. That doesn't give you the right, she started. To play it? I finished. In front of the people you assumed would never hear it? Ryan slammed his hand on the table. You humiliated us. I laughed, once, short and sharp. No. You humiliated yourselves. My dad sank back into his chair, staring at his plate. My aunt whispered, "Linda." My mom rounded on me, eyes blazing. "How dare you do this on Christmas?" "How dare you say it any day," I replied. Ryan stood up so fast his chair tipped back. "You're sick. This is why no one takes you seriously." I met his gaze. "You just called me nothing." Repeatedly. With witnesses. On and off the record. He opened his mouth. Closed it. Opened it again. "You're jealous," he snapped. "You always have been." My mom nodded immediately, seizing the lifeline. "She's jealous because she never measured up." That was the moment. Not the recording. Not the insult. The moment she doubled down instead of apologizing. I felt something in me go very still. "I wanted to believe," I said quietly, "that if people heard how you talked about me, something would change." Ryan scoffed. And now I know it won't," I said. My mom pointed at the phone like it was a weapon. "Delete that. Right now." "No. You're tearing this family apart," she shouted. I shook my head. "You did that years ago. I just stopped pretending." My dad finally spoke, voice hollow. "Linda, you did say that." She whirled on him. "Don't you start." Ryan looked around the table, desperate now, searching for backup. Some people wouldn't meet his eyes. Others stared at their plates. One cousin wiped at her eyes. No one laughed. No one defended him. He turned back to me, furious. "You think this means something? You think playing a recording makes you right?" "No," I said. "It makes me done." I picked up my coat. My mom's voice cracked, shrill. "If you walk out that door." "I know," I said. "I won't be welcome anymore." She sneered. "Good." I nodded. "Good." Ryan barked out a laugh. "Don't come crawling back." I looked at him one last time. "I never belonged here," I said. "That's the point." I walked toward the door, my heart pounding so hard it felt like it might break free of my chest. Behind me, my mom screamed my name. I didn't turn around. I stepped outside into the cold, the door closing behind me with a solid, final sound. The air burned my lungs. My hands were shaking. I got into my car and just sat there for a moment, forehead against the steering wheel, listening to my own breathing. My phone buzzed. A text from Maya. "Maya, did you make it out?" I typed back with trembling fingers. "Me, yes." 3 dots appeared. "Maya, I'm proud of you." I stared at the words until my vision blurred. For the first time in my life, the worst thing I'd ever been afraid of had happened. They had heard the truth. And the world hadn't ended. I didn't go back. Not that night. Not the next day. Not when the messages started coming in waves like a bad hangover you can't sleep off. The family group chat exploded within an hour. I didn't see it live. I'd already muted it, my hands still shaking as I drove home. But later, when I opened it out of morbid curiosity, it looked exactly like you'd expect a system to look when it realizes the lie won't hold anymore. "Aunt, this didn't need to happen like this." "Cousin, I can't believe you recorded them." "Ryan, congrats, you got your attention. Hope it was worth it." "Mom, you humiliated this family. Don't contact me." That last one would have destroyed me once. Now it just felt late. I didn't respond. I left the chat. Then I blocked Ryan. Then my mom. Then, after a long pause, my dad too. Not out of anger. Out of clarity. Because silence, I'd learned, isn't neutral. It's a choice. And he'd made his for decades. The smear campaign came next, right on schedule. Relatives I barely spoke to suddenly had opinions. People who'd never checked on me wanted explanations. I was told I was cruel. dramatic, vindictive. That Christmas isn't the time for airing grievances. No one asked why the recording sounded the way it did. No one asked how long I'd been spoken to like that. They just asked why I'd made it uncomfortable to hear. Maya sat with me on the couch as I scrolled through the messages, her knee pressed against mine like an anchor. "They're not mad you exposed a lie," she said quietly. "They're mad you ended it." That sentence settled into me and stayed. 2 days later, my dad emailed. Not to apologize. To talk things through. To ask me to understand how hard this was for my mother. To suggest maybe we all said things we didn't mean. To ask if I could be the bigger person. I stared at the screen for a long time. Then I archived the email. Because being the bigger person had only ever meant being smaller so everyone else could stay comfortable. Ryan tried once more, through a new number. "Ryan, you think one stupid recording changes anything? You'll always be what you are." I blocked that number too. And that was it. No dramatic final message. No mic drop paragraph. No reconciliation arc. Just a door quietly closing. The strangest part was the grief. Not the grief of losing them, exactly. The grief of finally accepting that I never had the family I'd been trying to earn my way into. I mourned the version of my mother who would have said, "That was wrong. I'm sorry." I mourned the brother who might have defended me instead of feeding on the role he was given. I mourned the fantasy that if I just explained myself better, loved harder, stayed quieter, I'd be chosen. That fantasy died at the dinner table. And it hurt. But underneath the grief was something steadier. Relief. No more waiting for the next jab. No more rehearsing conversations in my head. No more scanning messages for hidden landmines. No more protecting people who never protected me. A week later, I changed my privacy settings. Updated my emergency contacts. Took my spare key back from my parents' house through a third party. I told work I wasn't available to be reached through family. I made my life smaller and safer on purpose. And then, slowly, it got bigger. I slept better. I laughed without bracing for consequences. I stopped flinching when my phone buzzed. One night, weeks later, Maya asked me if I regretted playing the recording. I thought about it. About my mom's face when the truth filled the room. About Ryan's voice echoing back at him. About the way the table went silent when denial finally ran out of places to hide. "No," I said. "I regret that it was ever necessary. Because here's the thing no one likes to admit. Truth isn't betrayal. Exposure isn't cruelty. And boundaries don't ruin families. They reveal them." I didn't play that recording to hurt anyone. I played it so I could finally stop carrying it alone. And if losing my place in that family was the cost of being honest, then it was a price I was finally willing to pay. I wasn't the golden child. I wasn't nothing. I was just done being the lie that kept everyone else comfortable. I didn't ruin Christmas. I just stopped pretending everything was fine.